Yeah, welcome to the TCW podcast. Joined with Bobby Gant, Marine Manager. Just want to thank our sponsor, GW Services, for sponsoring this video. Bobby, obviously it's been a month, hasn't it? And I probably harassed you this week, haven't I? But I really did want to get you on just before the game. I honestly just want to reflect on the Woken game because obviously it was a Tamworth after we last spoke, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was a brilliant performance, and I didn't really feel like Woken were really causing us any trouble, even when they were chasing the game. I mean, how did you assess that game and, leading up to it?
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? I've said all along, we prepare, and when we lose games of football, it's because we haven't been good enough. It's as simple as that, and there's no excuses. There's no hiding from that. That's the culture we've made here. But when we went into that Woking game, I believed in what we were. We went to Tamworth, beat them. I know it was penalties, but when you look at our squad compared to theirs, we were to the bones. They had a full squad to choose from. So we went there, beat them. Then, we had Woking here, and when you plan, and I just had a feeling with the group and the feel around the football club, and the fans turned up, and even speaking to their manager before the game, he was an experienced manager,
Yeah.
and the way they were talking, the way he was speaking about it being a difficult game for them, and I thought this goes in our favour, because we're a good side, and if we can get our levels up, then we win the game. And I said to the lads before the Woking game, I said, lads, my team are better than Woking. That was the message I give them, but. The only way you lose this game at home is if you can't be bothered getting your levels of intensity with and without the ball up. It's the only way they beat you because individually, my team are better. I honestly believe that. And I just think on the day, we showed that. We showed we were the better side. And, credit to their gaffer, Neil Eardley. He
Yeah.
come up at the end and, he said, Bobby, I think you read his interview as well. He come over and basically just said, Bob, that was that was a proper performance. We couldn't live with you. The intensity, you know, balls in the box. You ran all over us. You outworked us. You outplayed us. The physical side of it. So, to hear that off a manager who's experienced as him was good. But again, I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in what we're doing. I believe in this football club, and that's no different. Come Saturday.
Yeah. Do you think when you play these like because you played them twice now, do you think there's a bit of arrogance about them that when they come here, and not necessarily the managers, but like some of the players think it's just Marine, we'll just come here, get on the ball and win the game kind of thing?
You know what? I don't think it's arrogance on purpose. I don't think it's arrogance. I don't think players are like that. And there's a few. I think Telford were more arrogant Saturday.
Yeah.
With their players before the game, one of them taking the balls from our warm up and all that. And then another one of their players on the sideline saying to one of our players, "What score do you reckon this is going to be 4-0 to Telford?" etc. etc.
Really,
So
yeah.
yeah, which is all good because you've got to back your mouth up. And
Yeah.
when you speak like that, you've got to back it up. So you then become the laughing stock. But I don't think he was arrogant at all. No, I just feel as though I think they give us the respect we deserved, but I honestly believe that when our players get their levels to where they need to be, and we get that confidence going, as you've seen by taking 7 out of the last 9, where we can compete with anyone in this league and in the league above. I have no doubt about that. We've shown with South Shields, we've shown with Tamworth, we've shown with Woken. And that's the culture we've created. Is at the end of the day, it's 11v11. We're not playing Man City and Arsenal.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
with all due respect, we do our own work, and if we get it right and we produce the performance we expect to produce, we can beat anyone.
Yeah. And obviously discussed like the recent form, and there was a couple of heavy defeats where I know you
Yeah,
particularly weren't very happy at Kings Lynn was after the game. I think Max Shields was a bit different because obviously for the first 20 minutes before Ajax gets injured, I think we're well on top of that game. And
yeah,
but obviously the last 3 games, as you mentioned, have been. I feel like we've got back to what we are. Is that something that you feel like?
yeah. I think we had them disappointing results for sure. Kings Lynn, was the second half was a no for me, was an absolute no. And, you know, it got addressed. It got addressed in the dressing room with the players, and there was a few words spoken from myself, but also from the team to each other, because that's what good sides do. Because that was a game that we should have won, and we never, because we were flat second half. You know, first half we weren't great, but we created chances. Second half we went out and, you know, the goal we conceded was terrible.
Yeah.
And the scary thing was we still had chances to win that game and didn't take them. So that was disappointing. Macclesfield, as you say, a few things went against us, but again, the goals we conceded were individual errors.
Yeah.
But what we done quickly was, as a group, we drew a line under it, and we said, okay, we've got this many games left of the season. We've got an unbelievable game to look forward to. So what are we going to do? Are we going to sulk and just ride our season out and just be like, oh, what if? Or are we going to go and do something about it? And the reaction we've had since that has been, you know, a positive one with 7 points out of 9. And, you know, we should have won at Peterborough Sports. Let's be honest. We've had the better chances again
Yeah.
to a squad of 12 players, because we started 2 who were injured and we probably shouldn't. But we had no choice.
Yeah.
So again, yeah, back to what we are. But we've been sort of like that all season. We've lost a few heavy defeats, which we've all, you know, we don't hide from that. We've conceded 4 goals on numerous occasions, but where we still are in the league and in this cup competition shows how good we've been. And if we can, it also shows how much work we still have left to do, because we're nowhere near the potential of what we can be as a team, and as what we can be as a football club, nowhere near.
Yeah. And obviously going into Saturday, obviously with having Wealdstone, what do you know about them? What are you expecting? Are you expecting like a similar game to like the Telford game, where you have to be compact and try and hit them on the break? I mean, what do you know about them really?
Wealdstone are a good side. Listen, Gary Waddock's been around the game for a long time. I've played against his teams when I played, you know, Wickham, a couple of others. So, you know, it'll be a tough game, but you know, the thing is, it depends how they go about it, because they'll want to stop us as well. So we've got to have a plan A, B, and C. And my players will have a plan A, B, and C, because that's how we operate. And, you know, we'll see what their team is. We'll plan to what we think their team will be. And we'll put a plan in play that if we stick to it, then we'll get a positive result. So we've done our own work on them. We will do our own work this week. We will address the group today, and then, you know, when the time comes on Saturday, we'll be fully prepared, and we'll give it our best shot.
Yeah. Obviously I spoke to Mark. Obviously, he had some nice words to say about him. You know, on the last podcast after Tamworth, and we had a little joke about you know, Wembley. And does it feel like more real now though? Because we've obviously beat Woken, and now you're in the semi-final. Does it feel like the realization of being so close now? Does it feel more real? Like when we spoke about it, there's still like a couple of games before Wembley, but now there's one game. Does it feel like a real opportunity, really?
It does, yeah. It's, you know, it's an incredible game for the football club, and, you know, it's nearly here, if you like. But as I said to the players, and I understand the hype. I love the hype, because that's what we want as a football club, because we're a good side, and, you know, if we want to achieve what we want to achieve, and we want to get where we need to get to, then we want more of these moments. We want to be in regular semi-finals. We want to be in this competition regularly, getting to the latter stages, and giving our fans and our players something to look forward to, and the football club creating some history for sure. That's why we're in the game. That's why I took this job, is to create moments and memories like that. So, you know, we have to be excited. We have to be, but we also have to control it. And it's my job to control emotions of players. Fans, crack on, get up there, get your voices on, get your singing voices on, give it everything you've got, because, you know, we'll be going there to give everything we've got. And, you know, I have no doubt if we do that, we'll get a positive result. But, you know, it becomes a point where, when people are telling you it's the biggest game in 30 years for a football club, that
Yeah.
shows how big, considering some of the games we've played in and we've had in the past. But, you know, to be 95 minutes away from Wembley, as so-called little old Marina, it's
Yeah.
it's not a bad start.
No, I'm obviously talking about yourself. You're well aware, aren't you, that Marine have never been to Wembley. I mean, what would it mean to you? Because I think like when if you mentioned there about the moral about Niall Cummins and him getting the 90 like fifth minute win against Haverton Waterlooville that got us the Tottenham game and obviously changed the club really. But obviously for yourself, if you get Marine to the final, I mean, your name's etched in the history basically, isn't it? So I mean, what would it
But
mean to you really?
it'd be incredible. It'd be incredible, but the difference with myself is I'm here to create so many more of these memories. I believe I'm good enough as a manager. I believe what we create. I believe there can be so many more memories. And I honestly do, but I also have to enjoy it because it's as my first season in charge of the football club, running the team and managing the team to be in a semi-final with an opportunity of playing at Wembley and leading your team out at Wembley and your football club out at Wembley. Being from the area, it mean everything. It'd be unbelievable, unbelievable. But I'm level-headed enough to
Yeah,
understand that it's I've been in the game a long time and the excitement's there for sure. The excitement's there. And come half 5 on come 5 o'clock on Saturday. I hope we're having the same conversation and we're going there. Yeah, for sure.
I think their stewards will have trouble stopping our fans going on the pitch if we win.
I'm
But
telling you.
yeah, obviously Hazelhurst and Matty Mackog, good 20 minutes on Saturday. How big of a like boost is that for you? And is there any other players that you envision maybe being available or coming back?
You know what, Matty McAnazel are massive for this football club in terms of the league and cup competitions. And if we'd have had them more often than not this season, we'd definitely be in a much higher position for sure. And it's crazy me saying that we're what 5 or 6 points off the playoffs with 3 games in hand.
Yeah,
But I honestly believe if we would have had them lads available and a couple more, we'd be comfortably sitting in there because we're good enough to be. But having them back now, having them doing the training and getting minutes, it's a massive, massive boost for the team and for the squad, especially because we lose Charlie Jolly, Zanzala, Jed, we lose
yeah,
all these cup tied. But we've got Newley back who'll be available. We've Matty Mack back. We will have Azelash back. Fieldo hopefully will train, get him back. So all of a sudden, then we've brought what's his name in from? Oh, I forget his name now. From Burnley. I can't even say his second name.
Marley.
I'm Marley. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his second name because I'll
I,
have to.
I've written it down,
I'm gonna
but
ask him. I'm gonna ask him first how you say it. I'm gonna ask because I'm I talk fast anyway, so I'm gonna have to ask him whether he wants to be called Marley or whether he wants me to try and guess his second name. But we've added him in. He'll be massive, massive for us in the middle of the pitch, because he brings quality, and that's what we need at this stage of the season. We don't want bodies. We don't just want bodies. We want quality, because they're the games that we're going to be going into now. Is we need big players. We need big personalities who are capable of producing what we've already produced this season. We've lost Marzo. Bailey Marsden's gone.
yeah.
But we've acted quickly and replaced him with Marley, so that's good.
What was the issue with Bailey then? How come he has left? Because obviously he hasn't played since Buxton, I think, when he got that bad injury, didn't he? Is there any reason why he did leave or?
You know what? Bailey was a top player for us, and he got injured, and he had other issues going on,
Okay.
which I won't go into detail with. But
Yeah.
the football club made the decision. Youngie and above me made the decision that they were going to speak to him and see where he was at mentally and where that was going. So they did, and they made me aware that he'd no longer be at the football club. Which, listen, it's absolutely fine because my priority is on the group, is on the
Yeah.
team. And off the field, I'm there for Bailey. I've spoke to him. He knows my thoughts on him. He knows my thoughts on if he needs any help or anything away from football, I'm there for him 1,000,000%. But in terms of the playing side, you know, I have to focus on what we've got available to go and win football matches, and there's no bigger football match than Saturday.
Yeah, and I obviously want to wish him all the best as well. You know, from what you're saying there. Um, obviously, I just want to ask actually because obviously you'll be aware, like obviously when we had them couple of defeats, and has it been challenging to keep like the players' mindsets on the league games with such a big cup game because it's been about a month, hasn't it, between obviously the Woken game and obviously Wealdstone. Has that been difficult to keep them focused? I mean, it doesn't look like it the last three games, but you see what I mean by as I'm saying
Yeah,
it.
no, 1,000,000%. I think. Do you know what? I think when we beat Woken, I think the two games after that, or the three games, if you'd include Kidderminster in there, was yeah. I think it was a case of okay, a lot of mind is hang on a minute. There's a semi-final on the horizon. We don't want to get hit, or we don't want to get the intensity up because we don't want to miss out on that and that. But after Macclesfield, we quickly draw a line, and I basically said to the players, mark my word, if you don't get your intensity levels up, you won't play in the semi-final. So it's up to you what you do. But we better start winning football matches and get our levels back to where they are. Because if we don't, then you'll find yourself not playing.
Yeah,
and that's not me. That weren't me being. That was just my feelings at the time of hang on. We've got three games here coming up that we can go and win. And they're
yeah,
not easy games. Even tonight, I fancy just to go there and get a result. And, the way I look at it is it's the next game. And it sounds a bit, but anyone who goes into management will understand that I can't focus on a week away because if I
yeah,
do, then we go into that in the mindset of hang on, the results haven't been great.
yeah.
So it was literally, lads, get yourselves back up to standards, or you'll find yourself not playing in that semi-final. It's as simple as that. So they've reacted, they've produced, and the mood in the camp at the moment's unbelievable.
Well, I think you're right there, innit? Because obviously you don't want to be going into that cup game like badly out of form, do you? And
No
if you,
chance.
and then obviously the last three results, and obviously the game being called off tonight, feels like we're bouncing into that game now, isn't it? Whereas obviously if you had lost, as it would have went as you were saying, you're going into that game like maybe with doubts and stuff like that, isn't it? So I think you're right there, aren't you?
Of course, you're right, at 1,000,000%, and it doesn't matter how good you think you can just switch it on and switch it off. The reality is, you can't, and even the best players in the world don't switch it on and off. There's very few who can just turn up and produce performances in world football. There's not many,
Yeah,
so it was a case of lads, get your standards back to where they need to be, please. We went about it in the right way. We showed them what they were good at and what they weren't good at as a team, and basically individually bring your best individual performance for the team. Because
yeah.
at the end of the day, no individual wins football matches, and that was the message to them. And if you're going to play as an individual, good luck to you because you won't be playing here as an individual.
Yeah. Just a word on Finley Sinclair Smith. Obviously, 150 games for the club, scored his 50th goal as well. I mean, the second goal is a brilliant goal. I think he's been brilliant all season. I know there's a period where he wasn't scoring, but I think he was still productive. I mean, a little word on him because I think he's been excellent this season.
Yeah, Finn. I sometimes you look at players and you think, okay, if he's not scoring, what's he bringing as a
Yeah,
forward player? But with Finn, when Finn hasn't been scoring, his work rate for the team and what he's been producing for the team has been another level, has been unbelievable, unbelievable. And you know, I said to him, the goals will always come for you, lad. The goals will always come for Finn because he's that good of a player. But what I said to him is your impact in your defensive role for the team and how you're going about your duties like that, your pressing, the intensity, the work rate you're giving. And what happens is even when you go through a sticky patch, if you're prepared to work, then you'll always score goals. And that's the same with the forwards. Like Newley, the last two games, he's been unbelievable.
yeah,
Unbelievable. His work rate's been back, the job he's doing for the team. Yeah, okay, he wants to score goals, but we're still winning. So when you're producing them type of performances for the team and we're winning, you're doing your job. So, there's a lot of work going on that players are doing for each other that's the sign of a good team. And as we say, if we keep doing what we're doing, Like we changed it up at Telford and we hit them on the counter because Telford want a lot of the ball in their own half. They want you to drag your centre halves out because their centre forward drops deep. They want to drag your centre halves out so that they can play balls in behind. So I said to Josh and Anson, their centre forwards drop deep, don't move, just stay where you are. And what happens then is they don't have a plan B. And that's what happens. And when you're walking off the pitch and Telford's players are like, you've done a job on us. No, we didn't. We just done our work properly. And we put a plan in place to beat you. And unfortunately, you didn't have a plan B to us. So it's as simple as that. If we would have come unstuck doing what we were doing, then we'd have had a plan B and a plan C because that's what's needed.
Yeah, and I obviously listening to that on the way home. I was like, it was interesting you said that because obviously when you got like that playing like not a number nine, but he's moving about and they're all moving about, it takes a lot to just like because to follow them kind of thing, isn't it? And I think that's where for
Well,
manager your first year's management, it says a lot about you that you recognise. No, we don't do that.
yeah, but all that because space will never ever kill you. It's not space that kills you in football, it's the player, because the player has to run into the space. And if they've got no players there to run into it, or if they are running into it, but my players are standing there to defend, then the ball doesn't go past them. So it was a case of, lads, discipline, and I'm telling you, to do what I'm asking you to do, you'll win the game. And if that means my centre halves are sitting there with a cigar out because they've got no striker to mark, then so be it. And that just means the forwards might have to work a little bit harder to get the ball back. But what happened was when that many of their players are dropping into their own half to play, then once they're passing the ball forward, they're trying to force it, but they're forcing it into all my bodies.
Yeah.
And running past it. So that means when they're running past it and we win the ball back, we kill them on a 2v2 counter attack, which happened, I reckon, 15 times in the whole game.
We did, yeah, especially second half, didn't it?
But
Especially,
yeah, because at the start of the game, the lads were a bit unsure because we've never played like that. I've never told them to play like that, but we've never come across a team, apart from Southport at home, who got dropped that deep to play.
Yeah.
But because they dropped that many bodies in, I said to our lads, just stand there and shuffle across. And then it's about moments. Then when you win the ball back, it'll be 2v2s, 3v3s, and it's just how good you are to whether you can execute it, and he did.
Yeah. I want to touch on obviously Drysdale actually because obviously you've got like at the moment, haven't you, fit anyway, three top centre backs, and I went to Cage and I think the first trophy game I think you played Drysdale in that little midfield role.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm not saying asking you to put who you're playing that deep not at all, but does that give you another option because he seems to do really well there every time you play him in that position?
Jack Drysdale's a football player. Listen, he's a top centre half, and he's a top holding midfielder. And if you're
Yeah.
asking to play up top, he'd play there for you because he's good enough to do it. So it gives us options, and especially against Telford, I wanted to go two centre backs and two old midfielders. We lost Sam Fielding, which meant I've got Anson and Wardle as the two centre backs and Zech and Whelan as two holding midfielders, and Telford couldn't get through them because, with all due respect, there's not many better than Zech Drysdale and Lee Whelan in the middle of the pitch at this level. That's my opinion. And then you've got the two big fellas behind them who again have been operating unbelievably. Adam Thomas was another level again. And Joe Ashton. So straight away there, it gives your forward players a platform that when they do win it back, go and express yourself because the door's going to be shut. And, if we would have had to, I could have just said to Lee Whelan, go and push on, go and get involved, and we'll leave Deck in front of Josh and Anson. So there was loads of options for us within what we had. And yeah, we plan, we do our own work. And the thing is, I've been at a level and I understand football. And, if teams aren't prepared to adapt or change, then you've got to find the weaknesses within that.
Little word on Lee Whelan actually. We actually did a podcast this morning, a short one with him, and really nice lad. And I think he's really come on leaps and bounds this season, hasn't he? Since he's come into the team and he's been a regular. I mean, I know you obviously talked about Drysdale, but you talked about Lee Whelan's there as well, being as good as anyone. I mean, how good's he been this season for you? And understanding, what you want from him and tactically as well.
Well, Lee Whelan, he's a top player, Hence the reason why he was the first one we kept in the summer, because he's a massive part of what we were doing. He had a couple of injuries, and we've said to him in the last couple of games, get on the ball and play, because technically he's up there with the best in this league and the league above, 1,000,000%. And he lives his life properly. And he's someone who we want at the football club, because he epitomises what we are and what I want. And he's committed. Wardle's committed. Every single player at this football club now wants to do well for Marine. Is here because they want to try and achieve something, and they believe we can. So, Lee Whelan's no different. He loves it, and his performances have been massive for the team.
And obviously you talked about Marley sign, and is there any? I know you mentioned that the budget was pretty much done to Steve Keelan, didn't you, in an interview? Obviously, you brought a loan player in, but is there any chance of anyone else coming in, or do you think that's it really?
Well, we've brought a loan in Marley, and Burnley have been massive for us. They've helped us with Joe Ashton as well. We've got one off Everton in Fraser still. So we possibly could bring another loan in. We're looking for that now. Again, has to be the right quality, because it has to be the right position that we need. If we can do that, then yeah, we'll bring another one in. But at the moment, we've got a strong squad for what we need. If we can nurse a couple of bodies back for the league. But in terms of, as I speak now, going into Saturday, it's been probably the best squad I've had to choose from while we've been going in the FA Trophy.
Yeah.
So it's the job now is to make sure that we get the right amount of training into the individuals, and we recover properly, and we make sure we're firing on all cylinders for sure.
Yeah, I said this. We did one with a Wealdstone fan on Monday actually, and I was saying that about the Tamworth game, that we basically on the bare bones, where I feel like the players that have come back now, it is a strong squad. I mean, just a word on because I believe Fraser Barnes is possibly not going to be able to play in international duty, but I want to talk on Jack McIntyre, because I think since he's come to the team, he's been really, really good. So yeah, just thoughts on that really.
Yeah, well, do when we brought Jack and Fraser in, it was always going to be a horrible situation, because we've got two top keepers at this level, and that was not the argument, but that was what I wanted. And previously we've had the cat and a main goalkeeper. But the plan here was I believe to have two top goalkeepers, because it pushes one another. And when you do lose one, you're not then panicking to go and bring another one in. You've already got one sitting there ready to go. And that was the message to Jack and Fraser was, listen, it's about performances here. It's about doing your job properly. It's about, doing what this team needs you to do. And if you do that, then you'll keep your place in the team. And, Jack bought into that massively. He's been incredible. And his performances the last four games have been outstanding. So credit to him. But again, he's just another one of them players that we've brought into this football club who wants to do well for Marine, and whatever it takes for this football club and his teammates, he's prepared to do as at everyone here. So yeah.
Yeah, and I must say as well, and forgive me for swearing on camera, but his shithousery, I absolutely love it. I mean, he's absolute Wanderner fans of Saturday, and I absolutely loved it, to be honest.
I know, well, if you noticed, I shouted at him at one point. I said to him, lad, come on, concentrate on the game, because there was still a few minutes to play and he's winding them up.
Yeah, they've had so well and truly gone on that. So yeah, apologies for swearing on camera if anyone's
It's
offended.
good, all good.
Obviously, you spoke before, haven't you, your relationship with Neil Young, obviously him being a past manager. I mean, just for people listening, what go into detail, with how's he helped you this season, really?
Yeah, well, at the start, there was a few difficult moments at the start, as everyone knows, and
Yeah.
he was there. The confidence was there. He believes in what I'm doing. He believes in the way we're going as a football club, and he sees the work we're doing. But the good thing, as I've said before, as a young manager, and I understand football. I know what I'm good at. I know the way I see and what I see us doing and achieving. You know, that's my way of doing it. But one thing's for sure is I've had to lean on Neil a few times,
Yeah.
and you know, there's no point me sitting here saying I don't. I speak to him regularly. I speak to him most days, because I'd be stupid if I didn't. Because you know, there's loads of praise. So after the Telford game, you know, I get a message off him, and it's little things that mean more to me than anything from not just Neil, but from experienced managers who have been around the game for a long time,
Yeah.
and you know, in the league, and Neil. So Neil basically said tactical masterclass
Yeah.
about Saturday's performance. So you know, from someone who was really good tactically.
Yeah.
Let's have it right. Youngie was good, really good tactically, and I've said it before. He was one of the best I've seen tactically in terms of going to Macclesfield and doing a job on them. In terms of, you know, some big games, he got some big results,
Yeah.
by doing his own work. And you know, again, I sent him a message saying thank you, and you know, we we see the game, not see the game similar, but we understand that you've got to adapt. And
Yeah.
you'll have seen it with some of his systems in the past where people think, why is he playing that system? But the reason why we do it is because we believe in what we're doing and we do our own work. And, you know, yeah, we bounce ideas off each other. And the biggest thing I can say is he's been there for me 100%, 100% in the good and the bad. And we've had some honest conversations. Not negative, honest conversations where we have disagreed on certain things, but the disagreements are for the benefit of the football club,
Yeah.
and not disagreements where he said I think that might be wrong, and I've said to him, no, I think that might be wrong. That's healthy.
Yeah.
That's healthy because what we both have Marine's best interests, and we're prepared to do everything possible as a team, including your Stammers, your Bowsers, you know, your Sods, me, Youngie. We're a team, and what happens with that is when you're all pulling in the right direction and you all want what's best for the football club, it delivers results like we've got.
Yeah. And I think that's right, to be honest, because I think I and it's for what it's worth, it's just my opinion, like, so it doesn't really matter. But I think that's your biggest credit, really, that you have adapted. We spoke about like Ryan Radcliffe, didn't we? And you know, we had a few defeats there, and I think since then, I think you've adapted unbelievably, and that's not me to like, you know,
Yeah.
try to kiss up or anything like that. That's just what I've seen, kind of thing.
Well,
Also,
the thing is, Mike, you have to learn, and you know, you can see a style of football, and you know, because we went to South Shields, great performance, should have won, missed some big chances. It's that first game, then we win three on the spin, and you know, playing a certain way. But then at
yeah,
some point, you've got to adapt because then you're losing games of football.
yeah,
And if you don't adapt, then you know or you don't learn, then you're never going to progress both individually and as a team and as a club and as a manager. And it's only a recipe for disaster if you're not prepared to do that. And you know, I fully understood that, and it was a case of okay, we need to get this right. We need to bring in bodies that we think can progress and play the way I need us to play. And you know, certain games, yeah, we have to go a little bit behind the ball with a view to hitting on counters and all that type of stuff. But you know, what we have got is a team of honest, hard working people on the staff, and you know, there's no stone unturned. And if there is a stone unturned, it gets called out. You
yeah,
know, and in the right way. You know, if there's something that doesn't sit right, you know, I expect it to be brought to the table, whether that's from Sod, whether it's from, you know, the physios, whether it's from my you know, Paul Stammers, whether it's from Youngie, because I'll call it out if I think it's the right thing to do and I think it's going to help the team, then it'll get called out. And you know, once you've got a dressing room and a staff that are
yeah,
comfortable doing that, and having not awkward conversations, but just conversations that are to help the team and help the
yeah.
club progress, then everyone feels comfortable for sure.
And I think something, if go back to that Radcliffe game, I always remember the interview you did, and you went 100%, this is going to change. And obviously there was criticism around there and all that, but I feel like now, you know, if we have a bad result, no one says anything because I think you've totally, you know, the fans are totally on board with what you're doing. You know, there's no criticism or anything, even when we had lost them 3 games kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It just it just goes back to, everything was new, and everything had come on the back of 7 years of Youngie and what he'd done and how he progressed the football club and some of the big moments, and that everything had come on the back of that, and Marine hadn't seen change, and
Yeah,
going from a player to a manager, making some of the decisions we had to make, and I had to make as a manager for the football club, that I thought was the best thing moving forward.
yeah,
You know, it did have to change, and
yeah,
that whether that was whatever that change was at that point when I said that, it wasn't working. It wasn't working, and changes had to be made. We
yeah,
made the changes, and you know, we had a vision, and we had an idea of what we were working, and we had them, the Drysdales, the Ansons, them type of players in the pipeline. It was just getting them over the line, and Youngie was working tirelessly to do that behind the scenes. We'd identified these lads, and it was just a case of, okay, now we need to get them in, and we did, and it fitted within what we were doing. And all of a sudden, we had a few dips, but
yeah.
we've put ourselves in a good position.
And also, I don't think it's been mentioned as well. It's really, obviously since then, I mean, you coming in, you're taking over. I know you're saying he's helped you tremendously, but you're taking over like really a Marine legend here, aren't you? You know, he's won 2 promotions, 2 cups, FA Cup runs, all the rest of it. You're coming into this job and you're a little bit under pressure straight away, aren't you? Because of what he's done. And as you just point out there, if you go on the bad run straight away, or a couple of defeats, people are like, oh, they like go back to what Youngie did. You know what I mean?
100%, 100%, and credit to him, because he listen. That man worked. That he works. I've seen him operate. I've seen him
Yeah,
operate, and he give everything for this football club. Hence the reason why it was successful. And one thing that I knew taking over was that there was pressure, whether you like it or not. There was pressure, but I
yeah,
believed in what we were doing, and I believed in what I could bring, and how I seen football, and how I seen this football club, and you know, having the support of him upstairs, and the footballing brain that I have, and the way I watched this league last year. And I thought, hang on, if we can get this right, and we can put my stamp on this, them lads will buy into it 1,000,000%. It was just the difficult decisions we had to make, or I had to make, and made them, and I got the support of the football club. And as I say now, there's still so much work that I have, and where I can take this team, and what I believe this club can go. I've got so much energy going into it.
no, obviously you mentioned obviously he was 7 points off the playoffs. So there's you got 3 games in hand. I imagine the Fard game getting changed now to next week is a benefit because, even if he got to the final, it wouldn't be till after the season ended, or they'll be in May. So, I mean, how do you think you can get into them playoffs? I mean, it's going to be a tall ask, isn't it? But I mean, even if you don't, I still think it's been a great achievement. But how confident are you getting in? Because I think seventh's the one that looks like most up for grabs for me. I think like Kidderminster and Maxfield seem to probably be a bit too far away. But obviously that's 7th place, and obviously being Telford as well, because they're the team you're probably trying to chase, aren't you?
Yeah, of course. And listen, I believe in this group, and all the pressure's on the teams above us. We're the chasers, and at any level of football, when you're the chaser, you've got nothing to lose. You've got nothing to lose, because the ones who are in them positions are in there. So, we need to keep putting the pressure on, and we need to keep doing what we're doing, and we need to keep picking up points. And if we pick up points and we keep performing the way we know we can, then we won't be far off. But the good thing that I've said to the group is, teams don't want to play us. Teams don't want to play us, and Telford on Saturday, they turned up. They thought they were going to beat us, and they never beat us. And again, that's not me being arrogant. We turned up to that game, and we'd done everything possible to plan for that
Yeah,
game. And when we turned up there was a few things we seen, and I said to our lads, this is here for you, this, because these think this game's done. And when you hear some of the comments of their players and the way they're kicking our footies in the warm up when it's all being set up and all that, I said before, you've got to be able to back it up, and they never backed it up. So,
yeah.
we're the chasers, and we'll enjoy every moment of it. And come the end of the season, let's see where we're at.
It's quite funny because as I did the podcast with the Wealdstone fan, and he was like going, I think he looked at the highlights, and I just said on the podcast, I went, yeah, but we've done it that many times, isn't it? That's not luck, what we did at Telford. We've done that all season, kind of thing. Um, and I don't know, there does seem to be a perception that teams think, it's when they play us that it might be easier or this sort of stuff. But this is what we do, isn't it? We
It's the
can't
problem.
do,
You know what? And that's you hit the nail on the head. It's not luck. It's got nothing to do with luck.
yeah,
It's to do with hard work, discipline, and a group of players and staff and a football club that works hard and knows what they're doing and plans properly. It's got absolutely nothing to do with luck. And at the end of the day, we we we, we don't mind people doubting us. We don't mind people. I say to the group all the time, if teams want to doubt you, then that's up to them. We can only control us. We can only control what we can control, and that's ourselves. And we as long as we keep our feet on the ground and we keep working hard, then we'll achieve what we need to achieve.
yeah. And I was going to ask, I see, because obviously you was part of the promotion team, eh, and going to Mac. I think this feels very similar to Macclesfield in terms that when we had them, it was all felt like, oh, Macclesfield was just going to run over, it's going to be their day and big party at home. I do get the sense of that with Wealdstone as well, and I get it, they're a league above and they're playing us at home, so, they got every right to think confident, but I think it's very similar. Do you think also them being at home will be a bit more pressure on them as well as being the team who's high in the league as well, in the higher league than us?
Yeah, I think a lot of the pressure is on them. The only pressure that we have is what we put on ourselves, as I said before. But a lot of the pressure is on them. They're the home side. They're the team in the league above. So we'll plan and we'll focus on us. And if it's good enough, then we'll achieve what we need to achieve. And if it's not, then we'll be disappointed, won't we? There'll be a few disappointed faces.
I don't. I mean, talking about the game, like even this would be disappointed if we lost, but I think you'd recognise what an unbelievable achievement it's been. Do you know what I mean? I want to sort of touch on, obviously, because you were playing. This is your first, like, I know you had the stint of Radcliffe, didn't you? But this is your first probably big manager's job. How's that been in terms of, like, your family life and because obviously being a manager, it's totally different to being a player and it's more hands on. You're doing a lot more stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, of course. You know what? I love it, and I've got the energy to do it, and I want to do it, and I'm in a position where I'm representing a football club that is close to me. It's where I'm from, so it. I've been a professional for 20 years, so this now is the next phase of my development and career. So, I'm loving it. I've got the energy for it, and yeah, I can't wait to see what we get up to in the future.
Yeah, and I don't know if you were, but Marine on Saturday equaled the points tally of last season with 9 games less. I mean, again, a brilliant achievement. I mean, how proud are you of reaching that milestone, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's progression, and what we want to do as a football club is progress. And the reason why they give me this job is because I can progress this football club. It's not just me; it's a team around me. I brought Stammers in as the first team coach, who's been incredible, unbelievable coach. We've brought Paul in, who's been great. We've got Sod here, who just tirelessly work on analysis, and we put a team in play that can progress the football club, and that what's the right word, that has the ambition to go higher, and has standards. And what we've done is we've matched that tally. which is great. But the challenge now is, can we go and achieve something? Because points on the board, yeah, love it, great. But I want us playing in big games of football. I want us achieving things. I want us, challenging for playoffs, challenging for promotions, playing in semi-finals, quarter-finals, hopefully playing in a final. I want these games on a regular basis, and that's the sign of a good side, that you can go and you can deliver. And I want, and I think that the team and the football club wants, is to be playing these games regular, and that's the plan.
Yeah. I also ask you about as well about Harry Hubie. I mean, I thought he was absolutely brilliant for a 16-year-old lad to play against Worksop, and anyone who's watched or played against Worksop knows that it's the land of the giants, basically, aren't they? They're a big physical team, but I mean, for a young kid like him to just come on and to do as well as he's done, I mean, I can imagine there will be teams interested in him, but I mean, how far can he go? Because for a 16-year-old kid, he looked absolutely brilliant in that game.
Yeah, Ubi's a talent. He's a top talent. And we've identified that. Myself and Stammers, we give them the opportunity, and we identified that they were good enough. Um, you know, we haven't seen many players of that age come through the academy and come through the football club. But we're prepared to give them a chance, because their age is irrelevant. If they're good enough to play, then they'll get an opportunity, because I'm a manager that gives people opportunities. And for Ubi to come in at 16, and he's been really patient. He's knocked on the door a few times to ask what he needs to do to get better, or not to get better, to put himself in a position to play more minutes. And that shows unbelievable maturity for a 16-year-old. And once we played him at Workshop, probably being a bit unfair from my side of things, not playing him more or giving him more minutes. But I have to protect him at the same time, because I can't just throw him in every week, and expect him to produce every week. He's learning the game. He's 16. He's come from Sunday League. He's come from college, and he's been put into a level that's a difficult level. But what he has done is he's give us massive decisions to make now based on his performance, because he's gone away. He's worked hard, so hard, with Stammers, away from football, on his physical side of it. And that's what you're seeing against Workshop, is an unbelievable performance, but something that we definitely expected, and we expect from him, because even his teammates see him every day in training, and understand how good he is.
And I just want to touch on, obviously, him and Potter. Do you think they're getting like minutes as well? I mean, do you think their progression is good for them at this level? Because obviously you've seen Noah Roberts went to Centres, going to Stockport, hasn't worked out practically straight away, and he's ended up going to Runcorn Linnets. I mean, do you think like they need to play at this level like for a little bit before they make, if they are to make that big move, then they need to just do a bit at this level, kind of.
It's the conversations I've had, and the problem that you've got is too many people want to go before they're ready, and too many people think they're good enough to go before they're ready. And I've said to the lads, listen, I'm not going to sit here and beg you to stay and play. I made my debut at 16 in the Football League. I know how difficult it is to operate at that level. And what I've said to them is, I said it to Noah. I gave him a decision. I said, it's your call, but you're not going to play for Stockport's first team, because Stockport's first team, there's pressure on.
Yeah,
There's a massive budget. They've got some top players. I know some of them myself. And, at the moment, you're in a first team setup in a National League North at 16 and 17 years of age. That's not heard of. We normally get loans in from 21s and 23s to come
yeah,
and play. So the problem you have with young kids these days is there's too many people in their ears.
yeah,
And it's, I try and say to them, don't listen to them, but I can't control who these youngsters listen to and who they don't. And the reality is, a lot of these people who are in the ears are trying to live their dream through the young kids.
yeah,
It's as simple as that. So, they're not giving them advice to benefit the young player. They're not giving Ubi and Potter advice to benefit them. They're just living their dream, through these young kids, and it's sad. It's sad really, because they're unbelievable talents who are operating at a great level and know when the time's right. It's what I said to Potter, I said to Ruby. Know when the time's right. If you progress properly, we won't stand in your way. I'll drive you there myself, because I believe you're good enough. But they are nowhere near ready to play in the higher. They're nowhere near ready. So that's not me saying they won't be ready. But as we speak right now, they are nowhere near ready to operate in the Football League. They're nowhere near.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're aware, but you probably are, but something that Wealdstone had, didn't he? One of their players, basically there's like this baller league that KSI is involved. He's obviously involved in Dagenham and Redbridge, and he played without Wealdstone's permission. They've obviously some sort of suspended him, and then yesterday, I think it was, KSI's got the more jumpers, basically the Wealdstone statements and all that. And does that touch on the same thing, where you got people in their ears and in people's ears and doing things that they don't? I mean, if it was one of your players that got out them, because I think he'd go off your nuts.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Listen, clubs do what clubs do, and you can't control what they're going to do. And a lot of people are in it or have an opinion for the wrong reason. We had a player in James Nolan, knocked on the door and was saying he was thinking of going to play in the Borders League. So I shook his hand and said, "All the best, lad. You won't be playing here." So that's what happens. It's once you think you're committed to something else, then good luck to you, because we're not second to people. We're not second to anyone. You're either committed and you're with us, or you're not. And if you're not, it's not a personal problem. I'll just make it easy for you, because if you're not committed to Marine, then see you later. The next person gets the chance.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, so it was. I think you got asked this, didn't you? But I won't ask you again, because I'm just the dynamic of it. Obviously, you probably heard loads of fans are sitting there saying, why don't you put yourself on the bench? Why don't you do this and all that? Is it? And I know you touched on it. You said that, you probably can't do anymore. But is it also you've got too much respect for the players who are giving you absolutely everything at the moment, that you don't want to take a space on the bench because you don't want to. You got too much respect for them. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say.
Listen, I love this group of players, and I have the highest respect for them, and I always will. And you know what? And I know people think, Bobby, you can still play. I could still operate at 1,000,000%. I could still operate at this level of the league above. My brain works that way, for sure. But my body can't physically do it. It's as simple as that. I know people are saying, get yourself ready, do this, and yeah, even some of the players ask me, they do, but the reality is, them players are more than good enough to produce, and they've done it all season. I'm not needed as a player. I am not needed as a player, and the reality is, I haven't got it in me in terms of physical. What I expect these lads to do with the intensity, I can't do now with the state of my knees. And, I tried to join in the other week and my knee blew up again. So it's not a case of, listen, if the team was desperate in terms of we had no one else, then I'd strap my knee up and I'd go, come on, let's go and deliver 90 minutes. And then I probably would score one or two. But it's not about me anymore. It's about me as a manager trying to take this football club forward with a group of people around me, staff, and a group of players who I fully 1,000,000% believe are good enough to achieve that.
I have said this myself. I thought if there was if he was going to come on any game, it would have been a Tamworth when we had to basically no one in it.
Yeah.
How was the team's mood at Wealdstone? Obviously, I imagine it's bouncing at the moment. You're really confident, but how's the players mood going into that game really?
You know what? We're in work mode. I'll be honest with you, and there's no one's getting above no station. No one's bouncing in. We're gonna do our own work. We're gonna do what we do. We're gonna get out. We're gonna get a good training session under our belt. We're gonna go through some shape and discipline and some movements and move the ball well and get the intensity up and put them through a session that they need to be put through. We'll show them what we need to show them in terms of video, and then we'll put a game plan in play. But it's work mode here, and what we're all ready. We're all everyone's excited. But in terms of staff and players, we're gonna go out there. We're gonna do our job, and we're gonna make sure we leave no stone unturned.
Yeah, yeah. Just a couple more questions and I'll wrap up, Bobby. Just thank you very much for your time. It's been brilliant.
It's all right, my mate.
How important, obviously, there's over 600 fans going there on Saturday, which again is like I was speaking to Dave O'Brien, who told me back in the 90s when they were winning league titles, they were only getting like 600 at home. So, I mean, how important are them fans on Saturday? And obviously, you thought of like near over 600 fans going there.
Incredible, unbelievable away support. The away support's been so good all season, and as I've said, it's the collective, and that does it. When I say that, I said it in one of my first interviews. This is gonna take every single person at the football club to buy into it. The fans are the most important part. They're the most important part because without them, you don't have a football club, and that's why when people criticise, it's not personal against me or the players.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get personal, then that's different, but it's not. They have a right to an opinion, and like they have a right to travel, and they're a massive part of what we're doing, and the players know that, and the players thank them when they come and they sing and they support, and because we're representing them, and we try and put a team out and try and deliver results that send them home happy, because at the end of the day, that's our priority, is to win football matches and everyone's happy. Fans are happy, players are happy, staff are happy, board's happy. And if we can do that, the fans are a massive, massive part, the biggest part of it, because, when you need a little pick-me-up,
Yeah.
they're the ones who pick you up.
You almost like I know you probably would have preferred own game, but thinking back on now it's away, and you touched on it, like there was probably only 60 at Telford, but the noise from them 60
Incredible.
fans was incredible. Like,
Unbelievable.
you almost like, I don't know, looking forward to it because you think you know that's 600 fans. I know obviously the people will be drinking, so that helps with it. But they're going to be absolutely bouncing on Saturday, aren't you?
Yeah, and rightly so. And regardless of what happens, them fans are gonna be there, and they're gonna be in voice, and they're gonna sing, and they're gonna support the team like they do. And do you know what? It's again, fans have got to enjoy it. They've got to enjoy the moment. It's a semi-final of a big, big competition with a chance to progress to an unbelievable, game, if you like. And the players are the same. We've got to enjoy it as a football club, and if we enjoy it and we deliver what we expect to deliver, then we'll get a positive outcome. But we have to make sure that we're operating at the right level.
Yeah.
Because Wealdstone are a good side, and they've got some good attacking players, but so have we. So it's important that as a football club, fans, players, staff, we go there, we enjoy it, and we try our best to get a job done.
I know you just touched on it there, like, but I know you said it really, haven't you? But so if there's anything more you want to add to it, but what would your message be to the fans going there on Saturday, really?
Enjoy it massively, because we will, and you deserve it. 1,000,000% you do. But the biggest thing for me is you got to be safe, enjoy the game, and hopefully we can deliver another performance that you're proud of, and we can send you to the promised land.
Yeah, and obviously you just mentioned Wealdstone, so I'll just touch on that as well. Obviously, Gary, you talked about the Woken manager being very experienced. The Woken I mean the Wealdstone manager's very experienced. Gary Wadder, I think he used to play for QPR. I think he managed QPR. He's been told that. I believe he was going to Fylde to watch us. So he's obviously not going to get that analysis, but obviously again, it's going to be a fascinating tactical battle against someone who's very experienced in it.
Yeah, it is. He's a top manager. He's been in the game a long time, really long time. He's experienced, and it's good to test yourself against these people. but I don't pay too much attention to Gary Waddock. I've got respect for him, 1,000,000%. I've played against some of his teams, but he'll be focusing on Wealdstone and I'll focus on Marine. And it's whoever gets the job done properly or whoever gets the planning right, and whatever players or whoever's team, if you like, turns up and delivers. It's as simple as that, and it's all the best, and we'll see.
Yeah, and last question, really. We're in the semi-final, obviously we know. I think in 2013, Bersco won the FA Trophy and they beat Tamworth in the final. Tamworth were league above. I mean, I think I know this answer because you'll say it, but I guess you generally believe we can win this trophy now.
Oh, listen, I believe we can win any game of football. I do, and if I didn't, I shouldn't be sitting in this seat. I believe that we can go and we can deliver a performance that can get us where we need to be, 1,000,000%. Especially with this group of players, the challenge is to go and do it and deliver. And if we do it, then happy days. But I believe 100% that we can go and achieve something special, as I've said, in both this cup and in the league, and that's the plan.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant, Bobby. I won't say thanks for joining us. It's always a pleasure. Obviously, the excitement's building. Be down to you to keep it level-headed, I think, because everyone else is
Just enjoy the ride, my mate. Just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
And I'll
To be
speak
honest,
to you later.
I haven't even thought about it. I was going to think after that, but now it's been called off. I'm thinking about it. But thanks for joining me.
Go
I really
on.
appreciate it.
No problem. See you later.